Hello guys, welcome to the knowledge domain, the concept of life sciences and biotechnology. In this lecture series, we are going to discuss gene editing and the various tools used to edit genes. So in these slides, we have some faces. Those people are very well known, like Gregor Johann Mendel, known for rules of heredity, also called the Mendelian inheritance. T.H. Morgan. He is known for the role of chromosomes in heredity, a very isolated DNA of which the genes and chromosomes are made up. And ovary is described by Ernst Tiselius as the most deserving and not received Nobel Prize. Then come to the beginning of the 20th century. Muller, he is known for the physiological and genetic effect of radiations, and the Orbach, who discovered that atmospheric gas can cause mutations. So these peoples, their peers, and the other scientists working in those times, whatever their contribution in the field of science is, it is of classical genetic studies or discovery and analysis of spontaneous mutations. Then the time of the mid 20th century, in 1953, Watson, Crick, along with the Franklin and the Wilkins discovered the double helical structure of the DNA, where the three of them, they got the Nobel Prize in 1962. After that, in 1979, for the first time, something experimentally proven, as you can see here. This is a gene Z. In the gene Z, there is the insertion of 3 amino acid histidine coding region inserted in the middle of the gene Z. So this is the wild type W30118A, and in the middle of this gene, there is a insertion of the histidine in the PUT2 genes, and this is the transformed version known as the MB1426. This is called by the SAC1 SAC1 restriction endonuclease, and this is on the both sides of this means the wild type as well as the transformed gene, and they will run in agar gel, and we can see there is a difference in the size. When there is an insertion in the middle of the gene, we can see there is an increase in the size of the gene. So this is the first time that one step gene disruption was done as a replacement in the yeast. This was published in 1981. For the first time in the human history, the gene was manipulated in the lab. Then it's a long time. It is 40 years ago. There is a statement from the Nobel laureate Sidney that the progress in science depends on the new techniques, new discoveries, and new ideas. I'll give you a very good example of this to understand. That in 1665, Robert Hooke, he prepared a new compound microscope or upgraded the compound microscope, and he wrote a book, Micrographia, where he discussed the findings using his new instrument. And he has discussed the tiny unseen world. And new chapter in the science is the foundation of the new chapter in the science is laid on that day. This is the cell biology. And this cell discovery is the result of a upgraded compound microscope. So this statement is valid in this case that we have a new technique. Based on the new technique, we get the new discoveries, and that results in new ideas, a plethora of new ideas. Gene targeting and local mutagenesis. It did not arrest de novo. That means we are sleeping in the night and we got a dream, and next day we started editing genes. It is not in that way. we get the knowledge from the DNA damage and the DNA repair studies. So based on these studies, we know how this DNA repair system is working that we exploited in the laboratory. And the gene editing technique becomes upgraded with subsequent new experiments and subsequent improvement in the gene editing techniques. So what is the secret of gene editing? It is a double stranded break. So from where we get the idea of the double stranded break? We all of us know the meiosis, right? We all studied meiosis also. But in the meiosis, when we just study meiosis, we forget that the crossing over that results in the exchange of the chromatids in the sister, in the daughter cells after the crossing over is because of the intentional double-stranded breaks in the sister chromatids of the homologous chromosome. Because of that, we got the genetic diversity in the offsprings. So double-stranded break is possible, or it is happening in the meiosis. So when there is a radiation, the two sister chromatids of the same chromosome, they get exchanged. But here the template is the non-mutated chromatid of the chromosome. So we don't see any difference in the sequence of the chromatid, DNA sequence of the chromatid. So here we saw that double-stranded break is necessary and we are getting the exchange of the chromatid. And here we are seeing that though mutation is present in the one arm, but there is a homologous, means there is a identical chromatid present that is working as a template, and the exchange of the arms is taking place and it is not resulting any change in the sequence of the DNA in the chromatid. So on this, we will discuss, or we can see that how the gene editing techniques evolved with time. So this is the 1979. In one of the previous slides I have discussed, for the first time, there is a gene replacement in the yeast carried out in the lab. Okay, followed by the in the end of the last decade of the 20th century, 1996 and the 2003, an improved version of the gene finger nuclease was used for the gene editing. Then in the first decade of the 21st century, 2009 to 2010, there is a transcription activator like effector nuclease. Transcription activator like effector nuclease known as TALEN was used for the gene editing. In 2012, Kloschel regularly interspersed short palindromic repeats associated with the Cas9 nucleus, where the single guide RNA identify the target sites. It is found to be less tedious, so its popularity is very high in the present time, and it is being used widely for a wide type of studies throughout the globe. That will all this type of the gene editing techniques will be discussed in the following slides.